De Antillen. Tussen de Atlantische en de Grote Oceaan, op een kruispunt van verbindingswegen tussen Noord- en Zuid-Amerika, een zwerm eilanden in de Caraïbische Zee. De Antillen. Op Sint Maarten lokken de baaien en de stranden. Het is er groen. Toch is het er moeilijk een bestaan te vinden. Er is geen industrie. Er is rust. En het is er mooi.
I'm coming right now.
Don't take too long.
We were considered an average family, and my parents raised small stock as a means of generating funds to keep us, afloat, so to speak. And my father was a mason, and there was very little work for him. So my mother actually became the breadwinner. She did a lot of things to generate money to actually take care of us, her family. She was a tailorist by profession that made men's clothes, even from shoes to hat. My father, he got a job with the government in later years, collecting maybe about 17 guilders a fortnight, which was a lot of money in those days, actually.
In those days, everything did cost little. You could buy a tin of pet milk and double show for 10 cents. And everything was cheap. But still for us it was expensive, because a housemaid used to work for 10 guilders a month. 10 guilders in 1 month. So wasn't much she could have bought from that salary.
And it was a strap of fish for 1 guilder. There's about maybe 6 fish on the string, 1 guilder. And so everything was cheap. You get a nice pair of shoes for 10 guilders. You ever hear anything like it? And so it was good. You can live if you know how to, economically.
Het Antilliaanse deel van Sint Maarten, dat zo groot is als Tolen, telt ruim 1700 inwoners, waarvan sommigen een bestaan vinden in de kreeftenvangst.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning.
People use a donkey as means of transportation. We had a donkey, and his name was Belvedere because he came from that estate, and we got him as a young colt, from that estate. And we used him to bring things from town, for example, a bag of sugar, a bag of flour.
It was quiet on the island. Didn't have no cars. If you heard a plane during the day, you'd come outside and start looking to see if you saw that plane, because that was something great. And during the hurricane months, if the weather is not right, and we are going to get a hurricane or anything like that, we knew it. We didn't have radios and all of that. But you could stay in Sucker Garden or in Phillipsburg, and you could hear the sea in Guana Bay, the waves breaking on the shore. It was so quiet.
And sit in Holland.
In the classroom, you know, people were poor. And when I say poor, I mean poor. And a good friend of mine lives in St. Peter's, a big man today. He didn't come to school with shoes. He was very poor. And at one point, his mother took him to French Quarter and had a pair of sandals made for him, but from the tire of the car tire. And that was a common thing in those days. You had a pair of sandals made from the car tire, and it was comfortable and good. And he came to school with that. Well, I don't think he wore it to school 2 days. Because the first day at school, he's sitting in the classroom, and again, when the teacher was changing classes, he would sit in the classroom, and then he would hear all of a sudden one of the students in the back, brum, 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 squeak, brum, 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 squeak. So he knew they were teasing him with his car tire sandals. And what he would do after that, he came to school in the morning. When he got to the school gate, he took them off and hid them outside. And, you know, these were all fun days.
Hurry up, man. Hurry up. It's late.
Come on.
Get another fan.
Put it in. Hurry. Elliot, man.
Get him. Come on, quick. In front.
Come on, quick.
Hurry, man. Close it.
Our parents on the island, always thought, your fathers always thought that their sons must have a trade. You must be a tradesman. You must be involved. You must have a profession doing something. So they picked me up, and I did the test for technische school, passed it. They shipped me back to Aruba.
Your attention, please. All KLM passengers with destination Curacao and Aruba, please board the aircraft.
Good luck, Carl, and take care of yourself. Don't forget the red, Carl.
I meet for Mama Tamande with a couple of chicks. Tamande, I beg her for one. Tamande, she wouldn't give me none. Tamande, and a rich chick. Tamande, I beg her for one. Tamande, and a rich chick. Tamande, I beg her for one. She wouldn't give me none. And you're right, trying to get away one of the children from her. And so those were the games we used to play when we were small.
I used to skip. I used to play taps. I used to play cherry nut. I used to play riding bicycle, catching birds, all like that. So we used to do.
We also set bird traps, pond bird traps at the ridge of the salt pond to catch the pond birds who were eating the midges.
Let's catch some birds. Okay. We'll need 2 sticks, 1 long cord, and some horsehair. Okay, I'll go find the sticks. I'll go find the cord and you go find the horsehair. Sure.
And when we finish school, we'll go run quick to the edge of the pond and see how many pond birds we caught. We would catch them, pick them up on the string, bring them home, and you just skin them by pulling the skin off, and we roasted them, and they were well seasoned from being around the pond, so they didn't need any extra season, and we ate them. So it was fun as well as a way of getting something to eat.
Dadelijk na aankomst wordt de vangst op het strand verkocht, waarbij sommige klanten de zee ingaan om het eerst aan bod te zijn.
Kids used to come here in the mornings, and I myself used to be here with my line fishing. There was a pond right over there also. Fish comes straight from the sea inside the pond, jackfish, and we'll go in there and throw our line and catch the jacks, you know. Then we had some folks from Simpson Bay. There's a man from Simpson Bay who were living down the alley there, and his name was Old Joe. And he used to come with his net and throw the net all around. And all the people would come and help him, you know, pull the net. And you see the fish jumping up and jumping up. When the fish realizes that it's coming to land, it jumps on the sand, and everybody trying to grab, you know, grab the fish, and the fish slipping out your hand going.
I used to shoot for the whole island, French and Dutch side. We didn't have cold storage and boats bringing meat and chicken like now. Everything was from the yard, the sea, or the hills. Yes. So the food was fresh food. No one had refrigerator.
And back those days, we eat a lot of fish with corn fungi, sweet potato, cassava, and they used to like to make a lot of dumplings and so. And they used to cook a lot of corn pork and green banana and dumpling and your seed. And then they get the head and the foot from the sheep, and they cook a big pan of soup.
I used to put on a pot with seawater to boil and go right there. And by the time I get back with a bucket of wicks, I put it in to boil. That's how many wicks it had. Lobster. I used to catch the lobster in my fish pot and crush them and put them back as bait. Now you can't afford that anymore. I mean, we had, at night you go with a torch and we go up on the crawl, and in half an hour you have a corn bag full of crayfish, lobster, young lobster. There's nothing left. Everything gone. Everything gone.
One would ask, what did you do for recreation? I'll tell you that in a real St. Martin way of saying it, we run woman. When you say you run woman, you went looking for girls, having a good time, out till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and woke up sometimes without having breakfast and go to work.
On Saturday night, they used to have a dance out there on the swing height. There you could have come and have oldie goldies. And everybody come from all over the corners of St. Martin, right out there, to dance the oldie goldies.
And you go to these parties, and when the young men come and ask you for a dance, they had to offer you a drink. I don't know if you young men do that now. They had to offer the girls a drink if she danced with them. But if you found a nice partner, a good partner, you dance with that person almost all night, only that one partner.
We played a variety of music. Variety, like I said. We played the Beatles music, the Heartbreakers, we played Beatles music, we played calypso, we played merengue, and calypso, merengue, and rock and roll. And of course the love songs. Because you who were playing music, you couldn't dance at that time while you're playing. But the other guys who were down there dancing, they wanted a little love song every now and again to cuddle with a girl on the dance floor and all of that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yes, if a guy, for example, has serious intentions about a particular girl that he is in love with, he had to write her parents a letter and ask for the girl and visit the home decently, if you please, because the parents wouldn't allow him to sit with the girl alone. They would have to be there sitting too while he's courting the girl, and later on get engaged and then married. But the most important question that he had to answer, do you have a house to put her in? You have land? You're working? So the parents always make sure that their daughter will be taken care of when she gets married or engaged to the guy. He had to provide for her well.
Vroeger was de zoutwinning een belangrijke bron van inkomsten. Maar toen deze verviel, heeft men de laatste voorraad tot algemeen gebruik opgeslagen.
The salt pond was huge. We didn't have the two other streets added to town. And in fact, the name of it was the Great Salt Lake. It probably was the biggest among the islands here. So the name of it was the Great Salt Lake. But we had more than one salt pond in the island. We had in Marigot and we had in Grand Cards. They used to pick salt too.
Well, my grandparents, they used to go to the salt pond to pick salt. So me and my cousin Celine, we used to go to throw the salt to the salt heap. So when you're going with a pan of salt, they used to count them. So if you throw out 12 pans, they say that's a barrel. So how many barrels we throw out for the day? When the weekend come, we get paid for the amount we throw out.
They had other freshwater ponds, yes. They had one in Point Blanche. They had an Atwell Pond by Bobby's Marina. And we have the fresh pond over there. And we had a red pond and Aisha Pond, and we had Gibbs Pond, and we had Guanabé Pond. French Quarter has ponds. Grand Cars has ponds. Mullet Bay had a pond. I don't know if it's still there. And how many ponds it had? Many ponds, yeah.
The water in the ponds used to be different colors, something like the rainbow, and so that was also pretty and very fascinating for us young people to look at. And on Sunday afternoon, after Sunday school, you boys and girls, teenagers, just walk up there and looking, admiring the salt and so, and admiring the people picking the salt. Yeah, it was nice.
They have all been taken, they fill them in to build construct houses and business places and whatnot. And they're still filling, they won't stop. They're still filling.
En van de zoutziederij staan nu nog maar enkele brokstukken overeind. Brokstukken uit het verleden. Een verleden dat nog andere herinneringen naliet.
In the early days here, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I have memories of good days. There were also sad days, because you couldn't have everything, but we had fun. It's sweet St. Martin land. Because there are so many people trying to come here every day. And many of us don't know what we have. And so many are not trying to protect it.
St. Martin, land of the sea and sun. Come back to my island of St. Martin. Please come back to my island and me. Please come back with an